Hello, and welcome to the Raw Mama podcast. I'm Shireen, your host, and this is my husband, Carlo. And today we are going to talk about our birth story. So, no pretty things, no additional stuff to talk about today. This is very simple, very direct, and we are going to do the birth story. So, let's dig in. Let's start with our last meeting with the gynae. Meeting? You call that meeting?
Yeah.
Last appointment with the gynae. So let's start with that.
All right.
So I came in, I was 39 weeks pregnant. Was I 39 weeks?
I can't remember.
So full disclaimer, guys.
High number of weeks.
Yeah. So full disclaimer, we did not talk about this beforehand. We've been really busy. So please bear with us as we remember our birth
It's raw.
journey.
Come on.
Yeah, it's raw. It's raw, mama. So, yeah. So let's talk about the appointment. I remember going into that doctor's appointment and I had some contractions beforehand, or Braxton Hicks, if you will. And if you don't know what Braxton Hicks are, and if you're pregnant, well, because I have a friend who was pregnant and she didn't know what they were because she wasn't getting them. So I think it's the tummy, the uterus tightening, like really like hugging the baby and like tightening itself so that
Mimicking
a labor contraction. So it's like mimicking a labor contraction, but it's not actually it. Apparently, it's a lot more painful. So, so I was going into that appointment in hopes that.
But you were also slightly dilated at that point too.
Yeah, but I thought like, oh, here it comes. I'm going to be like 4 centimeters dilated. He's going to send me to the hospital. I'm just like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And then he goes, oh, yeah, you are 1 cm dilated. Only 1? So can I give birth now? No, cannot. So he gave us the choice.
We said you could. Like essentially, we got there. You're having the contraction on the same day that we had the appointment already, right?
Yeah.
And so we were going in, so it was good timing. And then when we went in, we checked it out. It's like, yeah, one centimeter, which in my head, like the challenging thing in the pre-birth classes and stuff like that is the whole question of when do you actually go in and when do you not. So it felt good that we had something going on the same day as an appointment, so at least we get free consultation on what we should do.
Yeah.
And then I thought, if we're 1 centimeter dilated, doesn't that mean like we go now or what? And
I was just ready to go. I was tired of being pregnant.
Oh yeah. I mean, anyone would at that point, but especially you had a tough pregnancy.
I think once you reach like around 37 weeks, there's that thing where they say, oh, it's the point where the baby could come anytime. So I was just like, I was ready. I was just like.
Well, so then at that time, he gave us the option too. He said, we can plan to induce, or we can wait and see what happens and just have the baby come out, naturally.
Yeah.
And at that time, it happened to be like a holiday on like the third. It was Labor Day.
It was Labor Day on May 1st, but we induced on the 29th.
Yeah.
So he gave us the option. He said, if you wait till the holiday, there will be like additional charges.
Yeah, holidays are additional charges. So I'm like, okay.
It's more expensive. So he was like, but you could induce tonight. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous. I'm like, what? So fast? I thought that maybe tomorrow, or maybe I didn't know like immediately tonight. So I was really like a little bit nervous about it.
I was nervous
And
as well.
He didn't look nervous though. He was very like calm and collected. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to make a decision based on if you're going to deliver on a holiday or not. You just want to deliver on the day that you're supposed to, and you want it to go as smooth as you can.
Yeah, you want the baby
the doctor, to his credit, was very good, yet also like very particular and not telling us exactly what to do, but just telling us what our options were. And one of the biggest things,
he was very good at that.
One of the things that you did a lot was you did a lot of pre-birth things to prevent needing to do a C-section, because we decided we wanted to do natural. We didn't want to do C-section. And so, we asked on the statistics. He said,
Full disclaimer, guys. You can choose, but you cannot choose. So you can be like, oh, I want a natural birth. But so many things can happen during birth. You cannot choose. I'm sorry.
You can choose, but you can't. You can do your best to go towards the
Yeah.
outcome that you desire.
Yeah, you could try
And
your
either
best.
outcome you desire is not right or wrong. We just, or Shreen just preferred not to do a C-section.
Yeah.
So took a lot of things or precautions and things like that that would help prevent it.
Yeah.
And so we asked a lot of questions around that. And, at the end of the day, we were just like, okay, maybe we'll just do the induction. And so that's when we went back and decided to actually, I don't think you actually had the Braxton Hicks till after that.
No, I was
Because we
having
went
it.
back.
I was still having it like on and off.
You were having it,
But
yeah, I
yeah.
remember, yeah.
And then you remember, like, so we were like, okay, let's induce. And then I think we had to come into the hospital at around 11 p.m., right?
Like 11:59.
Like 2 hours before that. Wait,
Well, because they made it as a. Sorry, go ahead.
wait. So 2 hours before that, I started getting like, I don't know if I don't know if they were actual contractions or just a stronger Braxton Hicks, but that thing was strong. And honestly, to describe them, it doesn't feel, they always say it's like PMS and it's like you're having your period and it's a really bad tummy ache. But honestly, totally different. Like it felt like a Charlie horse. Is that what they call it? In your stomach. And it's just like twisting. It was really painful. So I was like, oh, here we go. We're going in the hospital. I'm probably like, I'm already contracting and this is it, you guys. Like induced. That's a good idea. So we have the hospital and everything. And why did we go at 11 p.m.?
Because it counts as one. So essentially, if you check in around like 11 p.m., then you're charged for the full next day instead of being charged 2 days. So if you check in earlier on, so it was like a Monday. If we checked in earlier on in the Monday, you'd be charged for both Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we checked in late on Monday, which means we're only charged on Tuesday. So as critical of a time, as much as you're, they're, very cautious about what's going to happen and with the baby, when you're also kind of doing some math on what the bill might look like, depending on where you land.
So anyway, there we were, and they put, I don't recall what time I was induced. I do recall them putting a pill up my butt so that I could poop before the whole thing starts going.
It was late at night. It's probably like midnight or 1 a.m. where they finally did the induction.
They also shaved my vagina. I tried to do it myself just out of respect, but I really couldn't see anything anymore at that point. So, yeah. So they put the pill. Do you know what time did they put? I think 2 a.m.
I think it was like 12 or 1. It was pretty soon after we checked in.
Okay, so they put that in and they were like, yeah, so we just wait. Most likely it happens like after a few hours. So we were like, yeah, let's rest, let's sleep. Good night.
The other thing you find out pretty quickly is that, I think I talked about this before, but once you walk in, there's not like a separate room. You just sit in. So if you're the
labor ward,
no matter, even if you check in late at night or anything like that, the husband is just on the recliner and then wife on the operating table. And it's that way until you see your baby for the first time.
I don't know.
I didn't realize, and it was totally fine, but I just didn't have the expectation on.
Well, I didn't realize. I don't know if that goes the case for other hospitals. That's the one that we were in. I don't know how it works.
I think it might be more common. I think once you're in that room, that's that's where they have you, especially if you're inducing a vasectomy.
Yeah. So let's talk about like us trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Trying to sleep, and this woman gets wheeled in the room next to ours and starts going, like, I think she was giving birth.
She definitely was giving birth. Yes, she was giving birth.
It was like,
there was nothing unclear.
I was like, we were trying to sleep, and I was like, Carlo, do you hear that? And it was like death screams.
Yeah, and we're on set. I'm on the couch. I'm on the recliner. She's on the table. We can't see each other, but our eyes are wide open listening.
Yeah.
And that's where it became very real to me as well, because I have not heard screams like that ever.
They said that was just in movies. And then I heard that and I was like, no. That's real. That's real life.
Yeah.
It's not just like the movies. She was screaming so hard.
Yeah.
Apparently, so I asked, the nurse came in to check my stats, my vitals. And then I was like, is that lady okay? she was really like wailing.
But that's
it was
what I mean.
Very
That's also when it
screams.
became very real, to me as well. That I mean, like I was like, oh shit, and I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to freak Shireen out because I'm not a freak out person, so I'm not gonna freak out.
It's very
Very
calm.
calm.
I'm the freak out person.
So if I show any signs, it's gonna be worse. But I'm like, oh my gosh, you realize what she's about to go through, and immediately you don't know if that person was had any numbing or what's the
epidural. I
wasn't sure if they had epidural or not, so you have no idea what to expect.
We asked the nurse.
I know, but at the time you have no idea. So I'm like, I have no idea if that's what she's about to be going into or not. And also that poor woman, oh my gosh, it was just.
So we asked the nurse if she was okay, and she's just naturally giving birth. It was her fourth kid. And we're telling someone else's birth story. It was her fourth kid, and she arrived at the hospital 10 centimeters dilated. So she was ready to go.
If you want to make things real for your husband, don't even do a birthing video. Just put the sheer screams of this woman into a headset, and they'll start to realize exactly, what potentially could be, coming, because it was. And it's not like that for everybody, and that's what we found out as well. Is it was a very unique case from what we heard. Is they had been rushed in, and I think from our perspective, it felt like it was a long time. I'm sure from her perspective, it also felt like a long time.
It was a long time.
It was
like 30 minutes, I think.
I wouldn't say that long. I felt that long, but that's not the case in every case, and that was a very unique scenario. And so, but. Not knowing that and going in the first time and listening to that felt very real and like a possibility.
And then I don't remember sleeping. I think I was just laying around watching TV. They repeated the same. It was
no good TV.
No good TV. They repeated the same episode of SpongeBob over and over again, and it was the new SpongeBob. So if you don't know what the new SpongeBob looks like or sounds like, it's nothing like the original one. So it really wasn't entertaining at all. And then I don't remember sleeping, but I do remember the doctor, our gynae, coming in at around 8.
Yeah, next morning.
At around 8. And he checked to see if there was some movement. There was not. I was still 1 cm. So we were still relaxed at that. I felt relaxed at the beach. And then he was like, okay, then we'll have to pop your water bag. So he got a tool. I didn't see what it was, but they showed us in antenatal classes. So we attended antenatal classes.
The old water popper, I think they call it.
Yeah, it looks like it's like a needle, but it doesn't look like a needle. So I wasn't really that scared. I think I would describe it as the stick of a balloon, maybe. Yeah. The stick of the one that holds the balloon up, the stick. And then, so he popped it, and then he was like, all right, it's popped. Let's wait. I thought there was going to be gush of water, but there really wasn't. I don't know where the water went. And then after that, he goes like, oh, so when do you need epidural? And I was like, I want to get that shit right now. Like,
I thought you had it when we checked in.
No, we didn't. So
really?
When he popped my water, I was like, give me the epidural. I don't want to wait, because I heard so many stories about when the water pops, the contractions start. And I'm like, I felt some of the contractions last night, if they were contractions. And I don't want to wait to see how far I'll go. Because my friend did without an epidural, and she told me not to be a hero. I trust her, and I didn't want to be a hero. So I was like, get me the epidural. So the epidural guy actually came very fast. I don't know the timing, but it was within 30 minutes for sure. He came in, and then before this, I did not hear any epidural stories. And honestly, I suggest if you are pregnant and you're watching this, do not look at any epidural stories. Just don't. Try to maintain positivity as much as possible, including birth stories. So this is positive. Don't worry. And then it's positive.
Oh, a little mix of review there.
Yeah. So no, it's just an advice. I tried as much as possible. I know it's hard, especially in Instagram and TikTok. You see a lot of moms share their birth stories, the negative, the positive. I tried my best to really skip every negative thing I see. And at the beginning of the videos, you'll notice that it's about to be negative. So I just like swipe, like skip that. So anyway, the epidural guy came in. Carlo was asked to go out, I think, because it's a very vulnerable moment. And I've also heard about some women fainting during the epidural just because maybe they're worried about the needle and stuff like that. I was very calm, surprisingly. I think for me, once you're giving birth, the most important thing is for the baby to be safe and for you to be safe. So anything that would help at that moment, I'm just like, I'm okay. So the nurse actually held me. Like, so this was Carlo's hand was my hands, my arms, and then the nurse was holding me like that. And then asked me to lean forward as the guy was injecting me with the epidural. So I think women, they faint forward. So I think that was like some sort of way, just in case. I didn't feel a thing. I felt the needle going through, but no pain, no nothing. They numbed the part. So, and I'm very scared of needles. Carlo would know this. Like, I get my blood drawn and I cry because I'm very, very scared about it. That was the least scared I was ever in my whole life. I was not. I was just like, I know contractions hurt, and this will help me deal with the contractions. So
Yeah.
I'm like, just take your pick. Like,
Meanwhile, I was pissed off. I was like, what do you mean I can't be in there? This is my wife. And you can't just ice me out, like put me outside. They very calmly just pushed me outside.
Yeah, they
No,
were like-
stay outside, sir.
Yeah.
Stay outside. And so I thought maybe best to keep a non-hostile environment. And so
I hear some of the dads get like really worried, or they faint and they see the needle and stuff like this.
Well,
So
I mean, how much more worried are they going to be when they push you out of the room? But I understand. Like, I think I'm
it's a very
I'm certain that
vulnerable moment for sure.
yeah, I'm certain that there's probably been a history of people seeing the needle and seeing what's happening and then having some sort of like reaction or something
Yeah.
like that. And so, guys probably aren't, best judge of how we'll react to certain
And
things.
it's a
We haven't been
vulnerable
involved
moment. The
before.
back is bare and you're leaning forward and you look weak. I mean, it's a very vulnerable moment. And I think men, especially if it's your loved one, you don't want to see that. So, okay.
Yeah.
So after that, the epidural kicked in. What happens?
Well, then also we think that once you pop the water, it's like, okay, here it comes. Because that was already 8 hours in.
Wait, we're not done.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, at that point, it's like, okay, coming right up.
So I have not met any other person yet that has similar experience to mine, but my blood pressure dropped when an hour into the epidural. They said it was like an allergic reaction and my skin was very itchy. So they give you medicine for that. So it went away. But I did recall like losing my breath a little because my blood pressure was dropping. And then I couldn't breathe properly. And then the nurse immediately came in, flipped me on my side, and then like gave me like oxygen. But she was very swift. They're like super professional and very swift and very calm. And I was just more worried because I couldn't really breathe properly. And then once they put that oxygen, the ones you see, because I've never been hospitalized, so this is my first time. So they put the oxygen thing in your nose, right? For like patients. And then I didn't realize air comes through that thing. It's like but you don't actually know when it's happening. And I was flying high. I was like, it was like the air was nice and cool. And I didn't realize I lacked so much oxygen because I was just like flying high after that. I was just like chill, so much oxygen in me. And I felt good.
Yeah.
And after that, for a few hours, we were chilling. Do you remember anything after that?
No, just continuing to chill. I mean,
Yeah,
it
chill,
was
watching
just-
SpongeBob, the same episode over and over again. We were chill, we were calm. And
Basically, the
connected.
doctor said we'll come back and check in like 4 hours and see how things are
Yeah.
going.
He came back. I was 1.5. So that was a little bit disappointing. And
At 12 p.m.
yeah, and that's when the nerves were starting to come in. Because I know from previous stories, you can only be given so much time to dilate. And then yeah, it usually results to an emergency C-section, which a lot of my friends have had. Not that it's bad. They all ended up totally fine, but I think as a pregnant lady, you have that expectation. So the nerves started to kick in. And then he came back again after another 4 hours, right?
So it was essentially 4 hour increments. So basically, once the water popped, then he's like, come back and check in 4 hours. Comes back and check in 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, looks like we haven't had any change yet. Comes back another 4 hours. Looks like we haven't changed yet. So that's around 4 p.m. Comes back another 4 hours. So now at that point, it's around like 8 p.m. or so. And so that's when it was, starting to become a bit long.
Yeah.
I would also say
1.5.
as a quick tip too, just as a side note, is for the husband sitting in the chair next the whole time, you're on kind of information duty, so you're going to be informing a bunch of people all at once. I would recommend having some groups ahead of time, and then using things like WhatsApp broadcast to then just shoot it out all the people at once. So it's just quick to update, so you're not going back
Oh
and
yeah,
forth.
'cause my family, his family,
Yeah,
my best friend.
all the family groups. So you're just get your channels established and have that be your kind of broadcast, like on the go kind of.
I just remembered something. You were actually watching the contraction monitor.
Oh yeah, like a doctor
You were like,
who had no idea what he's talking about, but
nurse,
looked like I knew.
does this look like this is a contraction right there?
You feel very, very in the
He kept reading it over. Oh, you're having a contraction right now.
Yeah.
It's not strong enough. And then you were asking the nurse, like, what does it take? Like, what kind of contraction does it
Yeah,
take to know, like, if you're actually dilating or you're, like, close to being in labor?
Oh yes, I do concur. I
Nothing
see
was
what you mean.
happening. Nothing was happening. There were contractions, but they were too slow. They were
But
not.
it's interesting to see the contractions and the fact that you didn't feel it. And
Yeah, I was
that
just like-
another, definitely epidural to
Yeah,
for the win.
that was strong.
Yeah.
She was asking me, do you want more? I'm like, yeah, sure, give me more. Oh, I felt it a little bit. Can I not feel it at all? Yeah, sure. They're great.
But then after that amount of time is about
1.5 still.
yeah, but by that point it's been what, like 18 hours or 17,
Yeah.
16.
We
something
were
like that
getting
hours.
scared.
And well, yeah, because the next thing he comes in and says,
Comes in 5 p.m., checks. It is 2 centimeters.
yeah,
Yeah. So he comes in and what does he say?
this was the one where so that's right, the 5 p.m. one. So he comes in and says, look, you're at 2 centimeters. Basically, especially if you're doing induction, at this point, the next time I come back, if it's not made any progress, then more than likely we're going to have to do a C-section. Now, then he gave the option, we can go ahead and do the C-section now, or we can wait another 4 hours and then, see if the C-section would be, a decision you want to make. And so we decided to wait for the next 4 hours, and
give it a chance.
I think it was more
looking
than just
really bad. Not really bad, but we were starting to understand that it may not go our way.
Well, that's what the 4 hours was. The 4 hours was at that time, because it's made so little progress over such long amount of time. The extra 4 hours was more so for us to kind of cope with the reality that she might be going through a C-section and do an emergency C-section. And that was super tough, especially if you've been in the hospital that long. And, for Shireen, she had a really tough pregnancy overall. And within the tough pregnancy, she also took a bunch of actions to try to prevent having to do a C-section. And then, of course, as, at least from my perspective, you start questioning everything. Like, should we have done the induction? Should we have waited? As you start to, personally, sorry, doctor, but also started to question the doctor too, to be like, why are, how we get this far and all of a sudden we're doing an emergency C-section, at the last minute, and then you felt like you did all the right things. And so just a super emotional, kind of time, which stuck up on me as well.
Whew, let me clear my throat. Every time I think about it, still just makes me a little bit emotional. So I was crying because I was thinking, like, what could have I done wrong? Like, I did everything. I did yoga. I did Pilates, like nonstop. I did that. I did the ball bouncing. I did everything. I did the raspberry tea. I did the dates. You name it. I did everything to help get this pregnancy going and to help the movement to help open the cervix more for the baby to come out. Because there's so much you can do to help this. I did it all. I really, really, truly believe I did it all because I was aiming for a natural birth. I even had a yoga teacher before I came in for the induction. She taught me different poses that I can do because she said epidural usually slows down the birthing process, which now I believe is true, but you also want to escape the pain. So she gave me a few poses that I can do while under epidural. And epidural, you cannot stand up because your legs are basically dead, like you're paralyzed. And so she gave me some poses I could do, like from my side, and then as long as my hip is open like that. So I was doing that. I was doing that the whole day. I was like, I would just turn left or right and then open my hip and put a pillow there. And just to help with the movement process. So I was like, why isn't anything working? And then I was starting to get worried about the baby. I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting my baby in distress. So many things were happening. And basically because the doctor said we can have a C-section anytime we wanted to, but I asked for an additional few hours. He gave us that because I needed to come into the terms that I was ready to be cut open. So fast forward, yeah.
Then you come, and I think, and also for the guys out there too, because you're not the one being delivering, but you're within the decision making process. So then it's tough too because you're used to being able to do whatever you can for your wife or your significant other, and it's a scenario where it's out of your hands, right? And so it becomes quite difficult in that sense. So there's those scenarios where things might be out of your hands, but in our case, the doctor comes back 4 hours later. At that point, we're pretty much just ready for the news. We're like, okay, check it out. We've already gone through 3 or 4 of these checks. We're ready for him to say, hasn't really progressed much. He's a very dry guy. So he comes back and says, well, it looks like, 7 centimeters and, looks like we can go ahead.
He said
and
it in a
see.
very blank face.
Just like that. Like
yeah, 7 centimeters.
And we're like,
what?
Yeah.
So no C-section?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we go ahead and chart ahead. And at this point, it was also pretty, when we did the baby shower, we also did, baby bets, obviously, on what the day of the birth was going to be.
Yeah.
And we were on April 30th and going into May.
Yeah.
And so he told us the news around 9 or 10-ish. And then so we had another few hours to start doing the pushing and all that stuff. And so we were at a very critical point where we had one person who picked April 30th, one person who picked May 1st. So it was very trivial at that time going through.
Yeah.
But so now we've gotten the news.
Then around 11 p.m., I was 9 centimeters, and the nurse came in and started teaching me how to push. So she did the initial pushes, and I didn't know it was the initial pushes, and they do that. So I was very confused. She was like, okay, you do this and this, put your feet up and this, and then you just push. And it was just the nurse, like some head nurse. I don't know. And at this point, I was like, okay, I think this is the moment where the doctor isn't available and the nurse is going to deliver my baby. So I thought that was it. I thought that was go time. So I was like pushing and pushing. Apparently it's the initial pushes that help push the baby to 10 cm. And then the doctor comes in when you're 10 cm. And then it's go time. Puts his gloves on, suit, scrubs, he's whatever you call that, apron doctor thingy, and then just sits down, and we started pushing at 12, right?
Yeah.
Started pushing at 12. I do not recall. I know a lot of moms would recall how many times they pushed, but I don't.
There's too many to count. It was just continuous.
I think if I were to make a guess, I think it was 6. If I were to make a guess.
No idea.
And then, so they would wait for the contraction to happen, and then you push. So you would wait maybe 2 minutes and then push, 3 minutes and then push. But they turned off the epidural, so you can feel a little bit. It's not that bad. I just basically felt the push, and I felt her coming out of my vagina, just the skin stretching, but you don't feel pain. So you feel, it's not even the discomfort, you just feel something's happening down there, but it's not painful. So you push, we were pushing, and then I think around the third push, because I wanted to go full natural. Okay, I didn't want to use forceps, new mom thing. I didn't want to use forceps. I didn't want to use the plunger thing. I don't know what it's called. The plunger that they put they put on the head and then they suck the baby out with the plunger. I didn't want to do that either.
I mean,
I
don't think anybody would.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to
just
rip.
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to rip either. I think as a new mom, a lot of us want this kind of way, like where it's natural.
I don't think I think any mom will want that way, right? Like you wouldn't want to. You probably don't. You don't want to necessarily.
I don't know. I met some moms who prefer C-sections, so everybody's different. So anyway, that was my goal. So I was like, I can still make it. I can still do my goal. No tear, no forceps, no all of these. And then apparently I wasn't pushing properly. I still had my oxygen in my nose, so I was like. And then the doctor was like, remove that oxygen from your mouth. Remove it from your nose. It's not making her breathe right. So the nurse takes it out quickly. Okay, and now push. And then I pushed, and he was like, Sharid. He looked at me in the eye and was like, Sharid, if you're not going to push properly, I'm going to have to use one of the stuff that's here. And I was like, no, not the forceps. So I was like, give me my other leg. And then they gave me my leg that was basically dead at this point. Put it around my arm, and then Carlo and the nurse was holding another leg, so my leg was solely on my arm here, and I started pulling it back. Every time I pushed, I would be like, ah. So my legs were basically going behind my head already, and I was just like, ah.
Because we didn't do any of those like pushing exercise or like that, so there's definitely a way to push.
I did some. So there are a lot of different ways. I was doing the one that my yoga teacher taught me. But I think because of the time that she has been in the stress, I think he just wanted to get her out as fast as possible. So he gave me like the hold breath method, which a lot of women actually don't suggest. But I think he just wanted her to come out, which is fine by me. So I tore 2nd degree. He stitched me up. Baby was out. Yeah. So I think it was the 6th. I really believe I pushed 6 times, but I'm not sure. So anyway, baby comes out. Flops the baby on my chest. There's your baby.
Pretty cool.
And then she looked like, honestly, you guys, I know all moms have this moment where they cry and be like, oh my God, it's so amazing. I was like, and the baby was just like, I was just like an alien, like.
She was very curious.
Very curious. The eyes were like wondering, like, what is this place? And I'm like, okay, can you get this baby now? I'm sorry. I love her so much, but I think I was high as well from the epidural. So I was just like.
Well, it was very unexpected too, because it was like, I mean, not unexpected, but I mean, you know why you're there, you know what you're doing and everything, but you go from this push to suddenly she's just right there and they literally put everything on you and then put her on top of that all kind of at once. And it was like, very quick.
Yeah. So they took the baby. I was still in shock. So they took the baby, did all the stuff, did the skin with you there while the doctor was stitching me up.
Oh, it was the measurements. So
yeah.
First took her over.
And then the lampshade there, the heat and everything, so the baby doesn't get cold, whatever they call that. And then he made me push my placenta out. It only took 1 push. Yeah, and he was my doctor. This guy he is like, I don't want to say it. He's a gynecologist, but you could see he has so much passion because he like took my placenta, lifted it in the air and was like, Shireen, the placenta, look at it. Do you want to see it? I'm like, no, I don't want to see it.
It looks like a lot. It
was like dripping and you know what it will look like. But it was just like, he was so happy with like his mask on and like, Shireen.
Well,
and I was like, this guy, he's something else.
I was surprised. I actually watched the whole thing, and I was worried because people talked about like smells and not being aware and everything like that, and so I was worried that I'm going to end up being the husband pass out in the background, and I did fine actually, and so
he saw everything. By the way, I totally forgot. But you saw everything. He was holding my hand and he was looking down and was like, "Oh my God, she has hair." I was like, why are you even looking?
But then also so it was also interesting to see. So the doctor who had immediately overcome the concerns, about towards the end when you're just kind of, thinking is, the she came out and she actually was wrapped briefly around the neck with the umbilical cord. And he's just such quick thinking, literally just saw how he goes, oh, looks like we got wrapped real fast, put her head down, and then took her out of the umbilical cord just very, very quick, like super fast. And so, obviously he's delivered, tons of babies, but it's just amazing to see that, kind of in action.
Yeah.
But then you go through, so then like she said, the baby comes back, and then my back is turned, and then I'm also trying to pay attention, like how's Shereen doing, and then
I was shaking.
seeing your baby for the
as
very first time,
expected.
which is no words can explain. And then I just remember turning around to that moment that she said when he was like holding the thing up. And that part, I didn't see everything come out. I just saw him holding it up and just breathe. Oh shit! And then just kind of look back away. But that part was definitely where it was. It was
Nasty.
definitely real. I hadn't seen any
Yeah.
videos or anything like that, but saw that one, live and in person.
I couldn't really see it properly because it was against the light. So there was like a lampshade thing, surgical lamp.
It was
thing.
just a bunch.
So it was like a shadow, but I saw like dripping, and I was like, ooh.
It was a lot. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I had the shakes after the epidural, which is completely normal. So I was like shaking while he was doing skin to skin with our daughter. So I was just riding it through. I was fine. I was just shaking. Yeah. And anything.
Oh, shaking with your legs.
Yeah. I didn't want to actually share that.
Okay, cut it out.
I don't want to share that. So my legs, after the epidural, had some sort of side effect. So if you know restless leg syndrome, that's what happened. So basically, it felt like pins and needles. When the epidural wore off, it felt like there were pins and needles on both of my legs, and it was quite uncomfortable. And I almost lost my mind. The nurse wanted me to hold Isla, our daughter, and I said no because I was shaking and my legs were very unstable. And she gave me this weird look, but anyway.
It has been 24 hours at that point.
I know,
too.
we were all
like
really
you've
tired.
been under the epidural that entire time, and so
Yeah.
because we didn't get back to the delivery around like 12:22, and then we didn't get back to the room till like 3-4 a.m. And so
Yeah.
you're still awake and gone through plenty by that
Yeah.
point.
And then we asked for ice. Surprisingly, the hospital did not have ice.
Yeah.
Go figure. It's a hospital.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like a procedure. I don't know why.
I'm sure there's something.
There's something
Super
why they don't
surprised.
allow ice. Yeah.
Brought a
So
bunch of plastic gloves with ice in it.
yeah,
ice
but
down.
ice from like takeout food. Like when you order ice cream and they put ice around your ice cream while it's being delivered, it was those kind of ice packs that they were putting around my legs. So I was losing my shit. I was telling the nurse not to leave and to massage my legs because I was just losing my mind. It was really uncomfortable, and I started having a panic attack because it felt unending. And then
I think the nurse felt the same.
yeah. I think that nurse wanted to quit. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, nurse. But yeah, it wore off. I did hear the nurse whisper to the other nurse and be like, yeah, she's acting crazy, but it will wear off around like 6 a.m. I look at the clock that's in front of my bed,
Yeah.
and it was like 2 a.m. And I'm like, 6 a.m.? You want me to go through this the whole time? So I was like holding Carlo and I was shaking. I was like, please, please. It was so uncomfortable. I cannot even describe it to you. If you have never felt it during your pregnancy, I don't think you can ever compare it to anything. It's just a weird feeling. And it was so uncomfortable, and it was like cramping at the same time. I think I was just under the epidural for so long that it reached that point. So I fell asleep. They put ice all over my feet. I eventually did fall asleep. I think I was just super tired. But I did wake up because I heard Isla crying, but I passed out again and woke up at 6, feeling great. So yeah, that's our birth story. And yeah,
Yeah.
anything else you want to share?
No, it's look forward to your birth story. as well.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming along with us and joining this special episode about our birth story. Really happy to share it with you, and we hope you enjoy it. See you in the next one. Bye.